to just learn new things and talk about what everybody's interested in as well. So it's always fun to see who joins us each time. And I always try to come with a topic. So tonight, instead of deals, which we can always go if you guys want to ask where something's on sale, I'm glad to try to help you find a deal. But I really wanted us to hit on just some things to financially handle before the end of the year, because there's only a few more weeks left. And there really are some things that in December are a good thing to handle before January rolls around. One of those that I thought we would start off right off the top is health insurance, because guys, you have one more week left in open enrollment to switch your health plans or make changes. If obviously if you're in this on your own. Now, if you're with your business or where you work, you're still in open enrollment for work too in most areas. So if you did have the opportunity to make changes, this is still the window and the time that you can do that. All of that closes on December 15th. So my husband is reminding me to also mention that as we talk finances tonight, that I am not, an official certified anything. I'm not an accountant. I just have a weird quirk of loving taxes, or not paying them, but doing them, and anything money. And I think I got that from my father, who growing up always kept a calculator in his pocket and could sit there and punch the long way to do compound interest on a 4-function calculator. That was him. So I probably come by it, honestly, because that was kind of, I guess, his hobby. So as we go through tonight, if you have questions on any of that, I don't mind answering them, but just, get that fine print underneath so that you, go and ask your own accountant before you make any major decisions. That's always the safer way to go. So to jump in there, and I see some questions coming in too, and hello to everyone from all over. So we'll jump to questions on deals too. I see your question, Desha, in just a second. Let's talk health insurance really fast. Some ways that you can save if you are in that boat and you're trying to cut costs on your plan in this next week, making adjustments. The first one, obviously, is to go with the really cheap bronze level plans. That's what most of them call them now, that have high deductibles. Meaning I don't pay a copay to see a doctor. I don't pay a copay to get medications. I have a chunk of money that I've got to pay before any of the other expenses are paid for. So with those high deductible plans, keep in mind that they still file the insurance, so you do still get a discount from the doctor. You're not going to have to pay the full doctor's cost because those bills are kind of crazy. So they're going to file it. The insurance is then going to say, okay, well, this is how much we would have paid, and you're going to have to pay that until your deductible is fully met. Hopefully you wouldn't meet your deductible. Hopefully you would have a normal year and you'd still have your appendix sitting in December, and that's not going to be an issue, but you're going to pay the least per month for the insurance plan. So that's really the goal there, is to decrease your total cost. So that's one thing I want you to consider as you're looking at plans. Don't just consider what it costs to see the doctor. Don't just look at the copay, but look at the overall cost, the monthly cost for the insurance, as well as a general cost if you're going to end up using that insurance. Because if we go for a crazy good plan with $10 copays, but we're paying $1,000 a month for the plan, you're really not going to come out ahead in the end. So you got to factor it all in on cost. So the high deductible plan can be a really good way to save some money, not only on the monthly cost, but on having a health savings account. They need to go together. If you have a high deductible insurance plan, meaning you don't have copays, you should have a health savings account. And we talked about this a couple of months ago on the Q&A, but this is also something to do before the end of the year, guys. So if you've been going this whole year with a high deductible plan and you haven't opened an HSA account, you still have time. And you don't actually have to fully fund it right now, but you can go ahead and start to put some money in it, and you actually have a little bit into next year to still fund for this year, but you can also go ahead and start to fund for next year. Once January rolls around, you're allowed to save as much as your deductible is up to a certain point. So for most of us, that's, well, if you've got a true high deductible family plan, we're talking like $6,000. I think the limit for an HSA is actually a little higher than that now. It's like 6,600. But I didn't re-Google. It changes every year. It bumps up a little bit. That's a lot of money. So I'm not saying that you're going to, just write a check and put $6,000 in an account tomorrow. But you can open it and you can start to fund it here at the end of the year. You can finish if you have a little bit extra for this year in the beginning of next year. Why you want to do that? An HSA plan comes off before taxes. So it basically completely lowers your taxable income. So it's that adjusted gross income. And that adjusted gross income is what your tax bracket is based off of. It's whether or not you're eligible for healthcare cost deductions if you go on the marketplace plans. It's all based on adjusted gross income. So that healthcare savings account lowers how much you've made, basically, in the government's eyes. You don't pay any taxes on the money as it goes into the savings account, but you also don't pay any taxes on the money as it comes out. So it is completely tax-free. Even the earnings is tax-free, which is pretty impressive. Our retirement plans don't even work that way. You're either taxed one way or the other, but they are going to get, their fair share. And on those health savings account, that's not the case. So you should, if you have a high deductible plan, you're eligible to have an HSA and you should be using it. And one thing to also answer there, because some folks don't understand the difference, there's a flexible spending account. They're not the same thing. So flexible spending account is usually offered by your employer. And that is the money that you can put aside monthly to pay for co-pays and everything else you need. But you must use a flexible spending account by the end of the year. If you don't, you lose the money. And an HSA, I actually don't have to use the money. I can leave that HSA money there for future years. So, I shared this a few months ago, guys, but my joke on the appendix, I had my appendix out this summer, and then I went back in the hospital this summer. I haven't been in the hospital for anything other than having babies in the last 15 years, but I was there twice this year. So needless to say, we met our deductible, but we didn't really have that money to handle. What we did was we had HSA money that we had put aside 2 years ago. It's been sitting there. You do not have to spend it. But then boom, when you need it, it's still sitting there. So pretty sweet in that sense to get that money put aside, even if you're not going to need it this year, because it was a huge blessing for us to still have that money sitting in that account and know that it was good. Now our goal is then to refund that money so that hopefully not next year, but in future years when other things happen, that it's there again. Now you can actually continue to save in HSA plans every year, putting in the full deductible. You can get quite a big nest egg. And some folks, if you want to go real good financial planning here, you could potentially just keep saving your deductible every year. And then you've got a really big nest egg that you can actually use for long-term care when you're super old. That would be the ideal plan, that you never got sick and you never needed it and you had a bunch of money that you could put into it to fund it every year. But for the rest of us, let's just have the goal of having your deductible fully in that plan. And then if you have to use it, that you can hopefully rebuild it. But those two plans go together. So again, what I'm talking about is a high deductible plan, no copays, and then definitely getting an HSA plan to go with it. If you've had a high deductible plan all year long, you can still open an HSA plan and fund it for 2019, even though 2020 is 3.5 weeks away. You can totally do that. And then yes, Leanne's mentioning too. So as we talk health insurance, a whole nother side of that is the medical sharing programs that are out there. And there's a lot of them. We have used MediShare. We've used Samaritan's Ministries. Leanne's mentioning Christian Healthcare. There's a number of them. One thing to note, or two things to note on health sharing, and I am a firm believer and supporter of them. The cost is just crazy cheap compared to the cost of insurance plans right now. We're talking like for our family of four, on a deductible of $4,000 or $5,000 instead of $13,000, which is our family deductible on our health insurance plan, monthly cost is less than $500. That's crazy compared to insurance prices. So it's worth looking into, but there are two things to note. First, health sharing is not insurance. That's the first thing they'll tell you too. It is not insurance, but it is kind of grandfathered in. It's allowed. It's not a problem in the whole you have to have insurance world, which there is no penalty anymore. But it's allowed. It's just not insurance. And they do have pre-existing condition clauses that insurance does not have. Now, most of them, and you need to read the fine print, waive those pre-existing conditions after 3 years. So it's not forever. But if you have ongoing health issues, then a health sharing option is probably not going to work for you. You can look into them, and I don't want to tell you not to look into them, but I don't want you to get discouraged when you pull them up either, because they do have those exclusions for pre-existing conditions, usually for 3 years. So totally worth looking into. So again, to rename those, Leanne mentioned Christian Healthcare Ministries. That one I have not used, but she is very happy with that one. We've used Samaritan's Ministries and Medishare more recently than Samaritan's. Never had any issues with any of them, and actually have some folks that are friends of ours that still use Medishare, have had babies with Medishare. Everything's been paid for, so no issues or qualms there. And I actually just reposted a review of Medishare that we posted a year ago, but reposted it this week in case anybody had any questions this past weekend. So you can pop in and look at that, and I'll try to find the link and put that in the comments too if you really want a detailed how it saves money. And let me see, I think I've seen a couple questions come in related to the HSA. Can I explain the difference? So again, Diana, the difference between an FSA and an HSA. The FSA is called a flexible spending account. It's usually offered by your employer, and you put a little bit of money in every month, whatever you decide, and then you want to use that money. You want to use that money by the end of the year, because if you don't get to keep it. That money can be used literally on anything healthcare, including over-the-counter medications. So I can be in CVS buying Advil and Sudafed, and I can use my flexible spending account card, because you usually have a debit card or credit card with that plan, to pay for those items. A health savings account is different. It is a long-term tax shelter, basically. And a flexible spending account is tax-free as well. But the HSA is really meant for you to save the money. You can even put it into investment accounts. So that's where ours is. There's a lot of places to invest with an HSA. I know right now Charles Schwab offers a completely free, no-fee HSA plan. And a number of the other investment firms do too. We are with healthequity.com. But again, there's lots of places. These are places that will allow you to put that money, though, into the stock market. In mutual funds, we're not going like all directly into one stock, but you're going to earn a lot more than you would earn if you were just putting that into a checking account, earning 0.0 whatever percent, which is sweet because that money is earning tax-free and went in tax-free. So that FSA doesn't earn you anything. You put money into an FSA, you have to use it this year, and whatever you put in is what you have to pull out. You didn't magically make money on it. It was not earning interest, and an HSA is. So that's kind of the difference there. I can still use an HSA for anything healthcare related as well. So if I needed contacts, if you wanted LASIK, if so it can be cosmetic, it can be you went in the hospital, big or little, that HSA is still allowed. But typically folks want to try to save it for the bigger stuff. It's like you're tucking away that nest egg. And then Rochelle says, can you have an HSA if you don't elect an employee health insurance plan? So you're on your husband's health insurance. Yes. So Rochelle, the only stipulation for having an HSA plan is that you have a high deductible plan. So it does not matter who your plan is with. If you have a high deductible plan and you've had it all year and your employer could pay 100% of it. But if it is a true high deductible plan, meaning you do not pay copays, your deductible is, I pay $2,000 and then they start paying things, then you are eligible to go to any bank you want and open an HSA account. That's all they're going to ask you is what kind of plan do you have? They're going to verify that you have a true high deductible plan and you are eligible to open that account. So it doesn't matter who it's with, where it is, whether the employer pays for the plan or doesn't, none of that matters. So you are eligible to open an HSA and you're good to go. Okay, one other thing I wanted to mention on health insurance before we move on, and this is just a way that I hope you guys already know about to save no matter what insurance you pick. So if you have not already started to take advantage of some of the online MD visits that are available, you should. So for us in a high deductible plan, to head to the doctor, we're still talking, $150 just to find out that you had the flu or you didn't have the flu. It's still pretty pricey until you hit your deductible. So if you've not already tried some of the online, you see the doctor, just like you're watching me, you see the doctor online, or some of them, they call you and you enter all your information. I would encourage you to try it for simple things. They're still going to ask you all the questions. You can still hop up on the screen if you're like, hey, I don't know about this spot. Whatever the reason is, you'll see the list of things that they will treat or won't treat. They're a little hesitant. A lot of them do not necessarily do a lot of pediatric things. So just to warn you on the pediatric side. But for adults, it's always, super cheap to do that versus seeing a doctor. There's one in our area, I think anybody can use it, that's offered by our hospital system with Prisma Health. It's $20. $20 to have a doctor's visit, and they call in the medication if you had a sinus infection or something like that. Obviously, they're not putting their fingers on you, so if that bothers you that you're not seeing an actual doctor, feel free to go to the doctor. But for me, to see a doctor for $20 and to not have to wait 4 hours somewhere in urgent care and get sick in the waiting room, it's totally worth it. So I would encourage you to at least look into some of those if you need a doctor, no matter what insurance you have. They do not usually bill your insurance, so you're just going to pay the $20. But for someone on a high deductible plan, that's a pretty good deal. So I would encourage you to look into it. Let's see. Oh, and Robin, yes, all of the videos are archived. So if you have to pop out and you can't hang on, can't watch the whole thing, you can always watch later. Facebook has a video page that is off of facebook.com/Southern Savers. You can just click on videos and see all of the past Q&As if you wanted to. Oh, wow, Shelly, that is amazing insurance through UPS. So she says they have a $200 deductible and awesome coverage and don't even make a monthly payment. That is an amazing insurance plan. So congratulations for your husband as well in lasting 36 years. That is not an easy job at UPS. Okay, let's see. Oh, and then Wendy, what are my thoughts on getting braces or the best price on braces? Just found out today that I need braces and I'm not able to do Invisalign. So a few things. First, I would get a lot of not second opinions, but quotes, basically. So we have twins that are currently in braces and they're about to get out. Exciting moment for one of them at least. But a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, that meant going to 5 different dentists. I didn't just stop with 1 or 2. They all will do free assessments. I don't care. It's your time that you're spending. But the prices were pretty wide for what they were all telling me was the exact same treatment. So get a feel for whose office you like the most. Is one of them making you feel a little bit better, even though they're going to cost $100 more? There's a couple other things that I would look into. One of those being, do you have a high deductible insurance plan? Because if you do, then fund your HSA, you get the tax savings for putting that money in, and then use that HSA money to pay for your braces. So you've at least gotten some tax benefits for putting the money in the HSA first and then getting your braces. The other thing for any large expense, and this was the case as well for our hospital bills this year, always ask if there is a discount to pay up front. And I know that that might sound super scary, but if you can pull the money from an HSA, or we can figure out some way to pay that money in one fell swoop, there's usually a considerable savings to do that. Now, from the orthodontist side, for twins, that savings for us was to the tune of like a couple grand to try to pay it up front. And we had to do some pulling to make that happen. But hopefully for you with only one person in braces, if you were to take that, if they were to make it, definitely worth your while to pay it up front, then try to see what you can do. One option, I'm not a huge supporter of credit cards. You definitely need to pay them off. But if you can find some credit card offers that are going to give you, let's say 14 or 18 months with no interest, perfect. Then let's open a new credit card on that 14 to 18 months with no interest. You've just bought yourself a year and a half to pay for these braces. So I'm going to pay for them up front, and I'm going to pay off that card before the interest kicks in. But now I've gotten that upfront discount by doing that. I would encourage you to do the same thing with a hospital bill if you didn't have that money. So for us to pay the hospital bill in one fell swoop, yes, it went on a credit card, and then we pulled the money out of the HSA. I'm totally getting my points. I'm not missing out on my points for that one. But to take that discount, it was a considerable, almost 40% discount to pay up front. Now, later in the year, this has been a rough year for us healthcare-wise. My husband had something done, and that doctor, when he called to try to get a discount off of a $2,000 bill, they said, "We're sorry, we don't give discounts." So our answer there is, well, we will not pay it in full then. We will pay you a little bit at a time, and they're going to have to be okay with that. If you're not going to give us an incentive, then we'll gladly hold on to our money, and we will just slowly give it to you as needed on your interest-free payment plan. So you kind of, play the game back at them. We were offering you some money this year, but if you don't want all of it, then we'll keep it. But I would encourage you to go that route in terms of saving on anything large. So where can you find doctors online? So Disha, there's a number of them. MD Live is probably one of the biggest, and I can Google the one that we use with Prisma. I just kind of randomly stumbled upon it. Smart Exam is the name of it, and really anyone can. I don't think you have to live in our area, so I'll stick this in the comments as well if you're interested. This is the one that we've done most recently. It's not filed through your insurance, and it's $20. And I was very pleased with that. Medication was called in. I actually did the exam during Sunday school one Sunday, and the medication was called in by the time church was over for me to pick up at the pharmacy on the way home. So very content with how that worked and only having to pay $20. And then Rochelle, so what if I invest my HSA in a bad investment? Is there potential to lose the money? So most of the mutual funds that they invest those HSA plans in are not mutual funds that are going to, the stock market could, I guess, potentially tank, and they do have that in the fine print that this is an investment account. I don't think you're really going to have that struggle, and they are very, they're not high risk. They're not putting them in accounts where one day you're going to log in and your HSA plan is now 4 times the value that it was yesterday. It's not gaining that much interest. These are much more stable mutual funds, if you look at it that way, that are very low risk, probably heavy on bonds, heavy on things that don't even change on a regular basis, just so that they have that stability, which would be where most people would want that kind of money anyway. I don't think you're going to have any issues. As we've seen stock market fluctuations, we've really not seen any fluctuations downward in our HSA. And then Brianna is also mentioning that her dental insurance covered Invisalign for her dental insurance and braces. You just have to make sure that you have an orthodontic policy with your dental insurance. A lot of individual plans with orthodontics aren't covered. So that would be one that you could look into. And that is, if you know that braces are coming, so back to you specifically, Wendy, if you know braces are coming, this is still open enrollment even for those secondary plans, so a dental plan, a vision plan. So you could hunt around for a dental plan that included orthodontics this year. Keep in mind that most dental plans do have a max that they will pay for orthodontics. So we have dental insurance. It pays a max of $2,000 per person. And we decided that it was totally worth it because keep in mind we had twins and braces. So we paid like $112 a month, which is pricey, but like $112 a month for dental insurance for 7 people. So when you do the math, 112, I'm going to get a calculator so I don't even mess it up, but we paid $112 a month, and we had to pay for it for 2 years. So we paid $2,600 for our dental plan. It paid $4,000 of our kids' braces, plus all of our cleaning. So we totally have come out ahead on this dental plan, but you want to do the numbers and make sure that you would come out ahead based on the monthly cost and what they would pay before you would sign up for it. It's kind of going back to that same, what's your monthly cost on the health insurance versus the copay. Okay, so to move on, we've definitely hit a a lot of help there. Oh, and what is considered a high deductible plan again is any plan that does not have a copay. So again, if I go see the doctor, I have to pay for it until the deductible is met. That's a high deductible plan. But if you have a copay to see a doctor, that you do not have a true high deductible plan. You may still have a high deductible, but it doesn't count towards getting to have an HSA. Carol's got a question specifically on reverse mortgages and how safe are they, and do you have to pay the taxes on the money? So Carol, in terms of a reverse mortgage, you're making them with the bank. They're going to pay you for the life of the mortgage. However, when it comes to the taxes, I am not certain on that one. I can Google that answer, but I have not. I've not ever looked into them, and it's not something that I would actually consider. I would really do a lot of homework before you go digging into them, because generally it says the payments are not taxable. There we go. Google IRS answer. You don't have to pay taxes on a reverse mortgage. It's considered loan proceeds and not income. So the hard part is that while you're living in your house, this is really what you have to think about. While you're living in your house is continuing to gain equity. So you live in your house until the bank has fully paid for it in all these years and you die, but your bank paid for it and bought it a long time ago at a much lower price than it is much later in your life. It's brilliant for the bank. It is not really brilliant for you. It's a good way if you needed money right now to get that money, but you're really hurting yourself down the road when you have more equity in your house, but you don't get to charge any more for the mortgage that you've already signed on the dotted line for. So that's the big thing to consider. I don't think I'd go diving into it without doing a lot of research, and I wouldn't get one. I'll just put it that way at all. So let's see. So Vicky, I guess I'm jumping around. I'm not seeing the end of it, the end of your question, Brianna. I get it. I thought you were asking me a question, Brianna, and you're really asking Vicky a question. Okay, to jump into some other things, I had a whole bunch of notes here that I wanted you guys to do. So we've hit the HSA. One other thing to mention, if you have not funded your IRA or your 401k, you still have time to make any changes that you wanted. You could literally walk into HR this week and say, hey, I want to bump up my 401k savings, and I want to put my whole last paycheck in my 401k. I know that's a little crazy, but you could. You could really maximize what your 401k savings is before the end of the year. I doubt highly that anybody watching maxes out their 401k. Guys, we're talking like over $17,000 a year that you can put into a 401k every year. Did you put that much in your 401k? Probably not. That's a lot of money. And I know that you don't really have that kind of money on, December 9th to magically come up with that. 401k, it is what you put in by December 31st. But if you don't have a 401k, so if you have you work even for a business, but they don't offer a 401k or any type of retirement plan, then you are eligible to open an IRA. And with an IRA, you actually do not have to fully fund it by December 31st. You can open it now, and you have until April 15th to fund for 2019. So you could go ahead and open your IRA. You can put a little bit of money in it, but you've got 4 more months that you can put some money in it for this year, and then you can start to put money in it for 2020. So either way, if you have the money, great, go for it. But you should be taking advantage of a 401k or an IRA as well. They're both just tax savings ways to save for retirement, but you should be doing that. Again, I'm not a financial planner, but I will say one thing for parents, and definitely parents of young kids. And this is a hard one for folks. I know that you love your kids. We want to do everything we can for our kids, but your retirement is more important than their college education. They can get a loan to go to college. You cannot get a loan to retire unless we're talking reverse mortgages. That's the only option that's out there, and it's not the best option. you need to be saving for your retirement as much as you can, a little bit at a time. You need to be doing your 401k or your IRA. With an IRA, you have two options, a traditional or a Roth. My guess is, based on all of us being here to save money, that you're probably going to want to go with the traditional at this point. But the higher your tax bracket, the more money that you make, you may want to consider doing a Roth. And you can Google that and look into that. We won't go into that tonight. But that is one. Through the end of the year, you must fund a 401k by December 31st. You can fund an IRA up until April 15th for this year, though. But it's something to at least get started on if you wanted to, for sure. Okay, to jump back and make sure I'm not missing any other questions. What dental plan do we use? We have a dental plan with Companion Life. If you wanted, they have an orthodontic plan. If you want to go looking for that one, you can. And you can hunt for these online, guys. So like ehealthinsurance.com and various places all offer a place for you to compare dental plans. Just go that route, and you'll come out pretty well. The other thing you can look into, if you want to, is Google an insurance broker in your area. Now, I'm not talking life insurance. They actually just work with health insurance and these other types of policies. They may do life as well, but just Google it and you'll find an insurance broker in your area, and they help you commission free. They don't charge you a dime, and they help you find a plan that is exactly what you want. And so that's what we used in our area. And if you're in the Columbia area, shoot me a Facebook message and I'll gladly shoot you the name of the guy that we've used. He's great. And I would send anyone there because I was able to say, look, I've got 2 kids. I know they're going in braces, and I want you to find me a plan that's going to max out the savings that we can get. And so he did that. Insurance brokers do not make money from you. They make commission off of the plan that you do purchase, but from the insurance agency. So there's no difference in the cost of the plan that you are going to buy. It would cost you the same if you went straight to the insurance company, though you're not going to. Or if you went through ehealth.com, any of those. eHealth is getting a cut off of the policy that you choose, or the local guy is. Go with the local guy. You get the idea, but that's where that money is coming from. It's a commission that the company is paying them, but nothing that you would pay extra to use the plan. Okay, so a few others. Let's see. Trying to make sure I don't miss. And Jessica's mentioning Acorns. So she uses the Acorns app and puts $5 a week in her IRA. Something's better than nothing. I agree, Jessica. No matter how tiny you can get, let's put something in there. There are a few different apps that are like that. Acorns is one of those. It's kind of rounding up and you're putting money aside. With any of the apps, just make sure that you are looking at what the plan is, if you're getting a plan through them, what it's being invested in, and what the fees are, versus going with some that are now completely fee-free. Schwab and a number of other large traders have now fully taken away any trading fees. So just make sure that wherever you are in some of the apps and the smaller sites, that they are not charging any trading fees either, because then you're paying for something and you're not really getting all the benefits that you could. And then Wendy says, my dental insurance through work doesn't include orthodontics. Could I buy a separate policy on my own to cover it? So you can't buy a secondary policy, because the secondary policy usually would not want to pay if there is a primary policy in place. But what you could do is to potentially drop the dental insurance offered by your business, since it's just like a secondary benefit, and then get your own dental policy if you wanted. Okay. To jump into a few other things, guys, talking about budgets and savings. If this is not the time of year that folks want to sit down and map out a budget for next year. This is a scary time to talk budgeting. It's actually a really good time to talk budgeting before the bills for Christmas come in, because you've probably bought a little bit more than you thought you were going to buy. Hopefully not, but I think we all end up there in a small way. It is a good time to sit down and at least consider what is important and what is not important. And one of those categories that I wanted to kind of hit on is the entertainment tech category that we all have. There are so many streaming services, iCloud storage, are you doing Spotify and Pandora, any of those things? We all think of them as being like, oh, it's only $5 for this, or oh, it's only $7 for this. But if you sit down and you look at what that category as a group is costing you over the course of the year, it's probably a lot of money. So if we're talking, you already have Amazon Prime, which comes with streaming, you've got Netflix, you've got, we have Disney Plus for free from Verizon, but if you're paying for Disney Plus, if you're paying for a radio system, this starts to add up a ton. So that's one category. I didn't want to get all into budgets tonight and, make people flip out right before Christmas. I'm not trying to stress anybody out, but that's one category I want you to ponder on as you go into the new year and how much money you're really spending. And I want you to think about anything that falls in there. So iCloud storage being one of them. If you have fully maxed out my phone, when I open up photos, that's the first thing it's going to tell me is that my iCloud storage is full, and don't I want to pay to get more space? No, I don't want to pay for more space. But they're going to ask me that every time. Are you paying for Kindle Unlimited? Are you paying for Audible? All these things add up, guys, and there are so many ways that you could be streaming for free, that you could be getting ebooks for free. If we just tried to say, you know what, I'm not going to say let's cut everything, because I get it. Life's fun when you can stream and watch some TV. But let's set a budget for that entire category that didn't exist 25 years ago, but is getting bigger and bigger and bigger in terms of what people are spending. So to just, tone it down a tad. That's a great place to try to zero in on one little part. And Jessica's saying canceling satellite radio. Yeah, all those things. Now, I will say, Jessica, OnStar, I miss my Chevy Suburban and its transmission that died this summer. We had to get an older car. It's not a Suburban, and I don't have OnStar. We had a really low policy with them, but I loved that they could unlock my car. I'm not saying I lost my keys all the time, but when my girls and I would run in a race, I didn't have to run with my keys. I could use my app and unlock my car. That was pretty cool. So I don't know. OnStar would probably still be in my little pocket if we had it. It got canceled when we got rid of the car. So all of those things, though, as you're thinking about that category, there are lots of other categories in your budget, but that is one that is literally, guys, not a necessity. Just to remind you, it does not feed you, clothe you, or house you, or keep you warm. It just keeps you entertained, but it isn't a necessity. So it's a good category to just ponder on over the next couple of weeks. How could we cut that category back? Because you probably could. And there's probably things in there that you haven't even thought of that you're paying for every month. So the best way to do that, most of us have those recurring payments, I hope, going either to a credit card that you're paying off at the end of the month, or they're maybe coming out of your bank account. We have ours set to go to a credit card, and then we pay off our credit card at the end of the month. That's how we kind of play the points game the most that we can. But you need to, even if you have your credit card set on automatic payments, that's what we have, automatically pay the thing off at the end of the month, you still need to be opening that credit card statement and looking through and re-look at all of your recurring payments. Is this really worth the $9.99 that we paid every month? But you're also going to catch some things that maybe you did a free trial and you forgot to turn off the free trial. There are lots of reasons, but you should be looking at that credit card statement every month, catching them, highlighting them, and then hopping online to cancel them if you don't want them. Let's see. And Deisha says, I hate iCloud storage. What device can you use to plug directly into your phone to download pics? I've seen several, but I'm not sure what to get. So, you know what? I'm going to let my husband give you a better answer on that one, Deisha, but I would say probably just an external hard drive would be my answer. He may have a better idea for you too, because he's my tech guru if I need things, but not that you would be able to necessarily plug an external hard drive directly into the phone, but maybe downloading the pictures onto the computer and then storing them onto an external hard drive as well. There are other ways that you can save your pictures with no limits, guys. So Amazon Photos offers no limits for photo storage. If you have Amazon Prime, putting your photos into Amazon Photos. You don't have to print them, but they will store them. Google Photos also offers you the ability to stick any photos that you want in there. They store them. And I'm pretty sure there's no limit on Google Photos. Don't hold me to that. But there are places online that you could store them outside of iCloud that doesn't have cost. So instead of filling up iCloud and then paying for more, don't do it. You can go somewhere else if you wanted to. Let's see. Okay, so to jump to a few other things that I wanted to mention. One, we've talked about the insurance, and we've talked about 401ks and IRAs, but one other thing I would like you to do now or as soon as the new year starts is set up an automatic draft to a savings account. If you don't have a savings account, you need to get a savings account. But automatically, if your payroll hits the first day of the month or twice a month, you know when it's going to hit. Set up an automatic transfer from your checking account to your savings account for a set amount. So you're basically saying, before I pay any bills, I'm going to put some money in savings. Make it a legitimate amount that you can handle. Start small if this scares you, but get that money put into savings. I would also encourage you to put that savings account in a different bank than your normal bank. My go-to would be an online bank. So we use Capital One for this. We have money market accounts with Capital One. They don't have a requirement of how much needs to be in there. So most of these you can open and put $50 in them. It's an online bank. I can transfer anything in, but it does take 2 to 3 days to transfer it out. So it's a little harder to use. You're not going to run in and be like, oh, that's a crazy good deal on a laptop. Let me move my money. I'm going to have to wait 2 to 3 days to get my money back. That's fine. It slows you down on impulse buying, but it helps that money to stay in your savings account. You can do this 2 ways. I can do an automatic transfer from the one bank to the other. They'll all set them up. They're happy to do that. But another option that a lot of folks don't realize is that your payroll more than likely actually is allowed to go to up to 4 different accounts. So you could go to your HR department. In my case, I have a few people that work for me. You can come to me if that were the case, how big or small you are, and say, hey, I would like $100 for my paycheck to go in this account, and then I want the rest of my paycheck over here. They can do that. It's just a little button in my back-end payroll system. So same for most of them as well, that they can handle multiple accounts. So you can either have the bank do it or you could have your business do it, but I would encourage you to do that off the top. So it's like you're paying yourself. That's what most people would say. You want to pay yourself first, put that money in savings, and then let's deal with the bills and everything else that's going to come. Because the reason for this really is that when you hit like the 20th of the month and you've still got 10 more days left till payroll, if you're once a month, you're not going to look at your bank and be like, oh, we're loaded. Let's go out to dinner. Instead, some money's already been taken out and put into savings, and probably the amount that you have left is a little smaller, a little tighter, but it keeps you from spending all the money that you could have saved a little bit on. So that's why I want to push you to do that, and definitely just get it saved and put away before you start to spend it. Paige says, is it possible to set it in auto draft to savings if all you know is that you get paid on Fridays and you don't always know the day? So you could, Paige. What you probably still have a every other Friday, or there's probably still a set routine to that Friday. You can do that in your auto draft and bank and kind of in transfers to set like every 2 weeks on Fridays, every 3 weeks on Fridays. It'll let you do that without knowing a specific day if you wanted to go that route. You just need to know the time frame and the day of the week, and they can totally do it. And then Karen saying she also has Capital One accounts and just got savings at Credit Karma that does auto deposits and is paying 1.75 interest. And so, yeah, there's lots of ways that you can save. So, and then looking around at other types of savings clubs if you want to as well. So Wendy is asking in terms of cable, as she has cable, what's the best thing to have? So we don't have cable, we stream, and I would say cutting real cable is going to save you a lot of money. If you like all of the huge cable channel, the big channels that are out there, and you like you watch them all, I would look into Sling or YouTube TV. We are using YouTube TV right now because we like college football. But that goes off, it goes away for us as soon as college football goes away. We're almost there. It's a sad day. We won't have YouTube TV until next August. We only pay for it during college football months. And even then, I find every deal that I can on Google Play gift cards so that we can bring down that price for YouTube TV as well. That's where I would point you to if you really liked all of your channels. If you don't need all the channels, there are ways that you can actually stream for free and not pay anything. I actually just asked my husband to make a big long roundup, so I'll try to get that posted this week. He did all the work, and then I got so busy on Black Friday and Cyber Monday that I never shared it with you guys. But there are a number of places that you can stream and not pay anything. So you just need a TV that has a Roku or a smart TV that can access those channels, but you're good to not pay a dime. And yes, Pluto is one of them, John. Pluto's got some fun channels too. We're watching, I think all the kids were sitting down and watching Flipper the other night. Like, when was the last time you watched Flipper? But it's fun and getting some old TV channels. Okay, let's see. I want to make sure I haven't. And Candace, we've been here a while, so you probably missed a chunk, but you can always go back and watch as well. What's the best credit card to open for rewards points, Christy? I get that question. We actually do at least once or twice a year a Q&A just on rewards points and rewards programs. But I will tell you this. My answer is always, you want to focus on a card that gives you points to something that you use regularly or where your goal is. Because the points may be a ton of points to one thing, but if it's something that you're not going to use, then it's not any benefit for you. So we have 2 rewards credit cards. One I use for business purchases. One we use for personal purchases. Business is on a Marriott card. We have lots of Marriott points, and then we're able to use those when we want to go on vacation and travel without having to pay for actual hotels. So earlier this spring, if you are recent followers, my husband and I went to Scotland and barely paid anything for the 2 of us to go to Scotland because we could use Marriott points once we got there to sleep, and we used airline points from our personal card to get there. So our air tickets, we only had to pay the taxes to get there. You always owe the tax. And then hotels, when you pay with points, sometimes you don't even owe the tax on hotels with points. Pretty sweet. We even had Hertz rental points, and we used that to rent a car. So we did learn the hard way that you shouldn't run off the road because we did get to pay a nice little fine for one little scrape on a wheel, but that's the way they play in Europe, a lot more so than they do in the US. Sorry, guys. But all of that being from using credit cards and paying them off at the end of the month, but having those 2 cards so that we could take advantage. Now, if you don't care where the points are, a lot of folks would say Chase is the way to go. They have a very good kind of Chase rewards program that you can then convert your points into various other programs. And Chase has a number of credit cards that have really good sign-on bonuses with bonus points. So you can go that route if you wanted to. Just realize that you've got to make some pretty big purchases in the first 3 months to hit those bonus points. But if you put everything that you're spending towards those bonuses, you should be able to hit those points pretty easily. Okay. And yeah, some other folks are chiming in too on their favorite cards: Capital One Cashback, American Express with Hilton Honors. So it really does depend on where you tend to stay. Again, for us on the Marriott card, we have that because we have Marriott Lifetime Platinum status, or it's not even that anymore, it's Titanium status. But because we have such a high status, whenever we go, we get all these fun perks and freebies and no complaints. But then if I can use my points and still get those perks and freebies, then I'm definitely going to stay loyal to you. So if you're already loyal to a hotel, having their card is totally worth it. Okay. A few other things that I wanted to hit on. Oh, and I did see one person asked a question specifically on a deal. I'm sorry, on an air fryer, and I don't know where it is. What quality air fryer are people happy with? So if somebody could, or if anyone has seen Kathy's question, I'd love for you guys to answer Kathy's questions because I don't own an air fryer. we kind of decided that life's okay with just an Instapot, which we have been using a ton of lately, but we have not gone the air fryer way at this point. We just use our oven or our Instapot. But if anyone else wants to chime in on air fryers that they've loved, Kathy could use some help and some advice. Okay. And, oh, lots of Ninja Foodie is what Jessica's saying. So, yeah, there were a lot of folks that have been grabbing that one this Christmas for sure. So, do I think a health club membership is worth it? If you're going to go, sure. It's how much you're going to actually use the membership that is going to make it worthwhile for you. I would look into one that does not have a you must be part of this for 12 months because that's where they make their money. Most people go to a gym in January and in May, right before it's time to go to the beach, and that's it. And so here you're paying for this year-long membership and you're dropping out. You're not even attending. So I would look at some of the ones like Planet Fitness and a couple of other gyms that let you pay monthly, do not make you pay for a whole year up front. If you end up using and getting into it and you're a health nut and you're going all the time and you want to switch gyms that charges yearly, then go for it. But if you find that you're not using it, I wouldn't. There's also a lot of apps that you can use to just motivate you for free at home to get you out and get you moving. One that I do is called RunBet. And RunBet, you pay to say, yes, I will run 4 times a week for the next 4 weeks. I pay $40, kind of putting money where my mouth is. And then if I run, I get all my money back plus the pot of all the other people who joined in on that bet. Split the pot and you get a little bit on top of what you earned back. If you don't hit your runs, then you lose your money, and your money is then split against all the other people who won. So I've been doing that for almost 2 years. And my husband will tell you it's definitely motivating because I've had some nights that it's Sunday night and it's the end of the run bet. It was 11 o'clock. Like, I forgot I have to run right now. So thankfully I have a treadmill. That was my Christmas present last year for my husband. But run outside 11 o'clock and get that run in. But it's something to get you moving. And that's really all I needed. I didn't need a health club membership. I just needed something to get me moving. And that was a good one. Can you print from your phone? Candace, you can. It completely depends on what your printer is. I would recommend a Brother LaserJet printer. So Brother makes one. Just get a wireless Brother LaserJet printer. Wireless Brothers are AirPrint compatible for Macs or compatible to print from Androids as well. And that's the route to go. You will be able to print anything that you wanted from your phone to there are a number of printers that are compatible, but Brother laser printers are really cheap to replace the toner on, and they last for ages, so it's totally worth it. And Len chimes in on the Planet Fitness as well. She would definitely use Planet Fitness. She's going on 2 years. So there you go. I don't work with Planet Fitness. I just know they're one of the cheapest ones, and I know that that's one of the things that they advertise is that you don't have to have a yearly contract to go there. Okay. One other thing that I wanted to mention before the end of the year is renegotiating bills. We'll talk about this when we talk budgets in January too, but renegotiating bills, this is a great time of the year to do it, to look at what your yearly bills are. And what I mean by that is like your car insurance, possibly life insurance, getting that requoted, any other types of bills that you have to pay, calling and seeing what we can do. So phone, internet, cable. Are there any promotions running? Can we lock in a lower rate? Can we do something that would change the cost of this bill? You should be doing that every year. Put it on your calendar when you do it so that you remind yourself to go back in and do it the next year and see what the best rate is that you can get. Call around. Are there competitors in the area? Can I get a competitor's rate and then call my person and say, hey, well, I just called these people over here and they offered me something that's half the price. That would be ideal, but you get the idea. Use that competitor's rate to help you get a lower rate with your own plan. And if you can't, then switch. But if you don't have a competitor in your area, I know when it comes to phone, internet, a lot of us are just stuck with whoever there is. See what the options are. Are there promotions? Could we possibly get faster speed for the same price? There are all sorts of things that they'll throw out there, but you should be calling every single year. It doesn't take a lot of time. Worst case scenario, they say no, but a lot of times they're going to say yes. It's totally worth the phone calls. And this is a good time of the year to do it because there are usually a lot of promotions that they're running around the holidays. And they're also trying to make sure that they can keep customers coming into the new year. So they've got some motivation behind it as well. It's a good time to just try to see what you can do for 2020 and lowering those monthly bills. Other folks are chiming in on printers too. And Cynthia says, what's the best deal on craft supplies right now? Not Michaels. So I don't know what kind of craft supplies you're wanting, Cynthia. But in terms of stores, not Michaels. If you have a Joann's nearby, that would be one to look at. If you are a Joann's shopper, always using their app because there are way more coupons in the app than you will find online. You will save a lot more money. If you are going to go Michaels or somewhere like that, keep in mind that all of those stores accept each other's coupons. So if you see a better coupon for a competing arts and crafts store, just take it with you. AC Moore, Michaels, Joann's, they all accept each other's coupons. So it's well worth it to go hunting. And then beyond that, it's just hunting around for what you're wanting. But I don't know specifically what you're wanting. Is Christmas a good time of the year to buy my first car? The sales make it seem like it is. It is if you're wanting to get an older car or even 1 or 2 years old. They want to get rid of 2019 models before 2020 rolls around. 2020 cars are already out on the lot, but they'd like to get rid of the older models. Plus, anyone that's trying to sell a car, it's about to be a year older as well. If I'm going direct to the owner to buy a car, they're possibly willing to negotiate with you more here too because they'd like some cash in their pocket before Christmas time. Just depends on where you're looking at going and what kind of car you're looking at getting. It is not the best time of the year to get a 2020 though. So if you're wanting the new model, you're going to pay top dollar. It just hit the lots like a month and a half ago. So you really want to wait and get a 2020 next summer, but not right now. It's a great time to get a year old or older model though. Yeah, and AC Moore is closing. Thank you for reminding me on that one, Deborah. All AC Moore stores are closing. So if you do have one of those nearby, that would make for some great craft supplies. And then Candace is also chiming in on Dollar Tree. The Dollar Tree is great for crafts. And Mima Hope is reminding me too, Hobby Lobby does not accept competitors. It was AC Moore, Joann's, and Michaels. And so I guess we're now down to Joann's and Michaels that will accept each other's coupons. Okay. Let's see. What's the best time to buy a new mattress? So Mayhing, the best time to buy a new mattress is usually in the spring. That's when we want to buy mattresses and furniture. Usually the best prices. It's kind of like that spring cleaning type mindset. We get that with furniture and large purchase items and then always waiting for a 3-day weekend. So you could go MLK Day or there aren't a lot of 3-day weekends in February and March, but even Easter, we'll see some sales over Easter, Memorial Day. That's really our best windows if you can for a mattress. Okay. And then you're wanting the Amazon Show, which is like the Echo Show. So there's a couple deals on the Echo Show, Disha. What I would recommend is getting a deal that includes, if you want it, there are a number of deals that are pairing the Echo Show and the Ring together right now. The Ring is that video doorbell. You're going to come out to get a really good price on the two of them over just getting the show. The show's still on sale. It's not as cheap as we saw on Cyber Monday or Black Friday right now, but we may see it come back on sale before the holidays. Again, I don't know that it'll go as cheap. So the Echo Show 5 is $59.99 right now. That's just for the basic show. But you could look at some of the bundles that are out there too. Let's see. There's a $5 smart plug that you can add into it. 4 months of free Amazon Prime Music is the same price. So you can play around with it on the Echo Show if that's the one that you're looking at. So this is, you can sit here, you'll see all the options, even just on Amazon's page. Oh, it's having a hard time as I scroll through them, but you can click on each of these, and all it is just scroll down from the site to pick which one you want to look at and what the prices are. And then the Echo Show and the Ring, Best Buy is offering a bundle deal on those to get a Ring video camera, Echo Show, and the Chime. You didn't hear it from me, but it is going to be on a daily deal on Wednesday on Best Buy. I have to think about that, what day it was coming. So you could wait and get them bundled if you wanted on Wednesday. But I didn't tell you. Okay. Spring also, so appliances, Christine, now's okay. Appliances, I just want to wait for a 3-day weekend. We see some of the best prices on 3-day weekends, not necessarily a specific time of the year, though we do see new models come out in the fall, but appliances, just 3-day weekend, and you've made a good choice. Where we are right now with appliances, a lot of stores are still holding their Black Friday sales. They just carried them over. So you could go that route and still get a pretty good deal on appliances. Keep in mind with appliances that they will all price match each other. So hunt around, find the appliance you want, and then go hunting for the best price that you can get on it. That's going to save you a lot more. Okay. Kind of making sure I didn't miss anything here. We've talked about lots of things to do before the end of the year, and things to get set up. Keep in mind with tax changes, one thing that isn't on your priority list, we should always donate money, but donations are not something that most of us are going to write off on our taxes anymore. So if you are thinking, oh, I need to make, a last minute run to Goodwill and get the receipt, you can, but you're probably not going to be claiming donations on your taxes. So clean out your closets. And if anything, I was a little shocked. My husband was pulling something out. It was a Nerf gun that we actually were given a couple of years ago and never gave to our kids. It's like bigger than some of our kids in terms of length. What are you doing with that? He said, I sold it on eBay. Okay, where have I been all week long? So clean out the closets and get things up on eBay. So go husband for earning back some Christmas money. But if you've got name brand items in the closet, you're not using them anymore, purses, if they're in good condition, see what they're selling for. eBay is still around. Facebook Marketplace is still around. And this is a great time of year to get things up that people would want as gifts. So if you've got a piece of exercise equipment that you haven't used all year long, let's get it up and let's sell it and make some cash. While other people might want to buy it for presents, whether you do it locally, Facebook Marketplace, eBay, there's a lot of other places that you can sell too, but it's a great time of the year to clean out the closets and make a little cash. So go that route for sure if you can here in the next couple of weeks. You're not going to see a lot of that. Folks aren't looking to make random purchases come January, but this is a good time of the year to get them to grab your old things. Mayhing says Lowe's will price match plus 10% discount on appliances if you don't find it in scratch and dent first. I love Lowe's scratch and dent, so that would always be where I would go 100% for looking for any appliance that I needed. Okay, so we are there on time, and I'm going to go ahead and call it. Thanks for joining me tonight. We are going to have a Q&A next week. We'll talk last minute deals and what we're seeing, and also Christmas dinner, all of that. And then just go ahead and give you a heads up. I'm not going to do a Q&A the Monday right before Christmas or the Monday right before New Year's. So we're going to take off those 2 weeks, and then we'll be back in January with no break. So we will have a Q&A next week, but it'll be the last Q&A of the year. It's crazy to think that Christmas is that close. So thanks, guys, for joining me. And please tune in next week. So you guys have a great week, and I'll talk to you again very soon.